Hello, this is Gordon Goodwin. Thank you for joining us today as we take an inside look at the Big Phat Band's new release, That's How We Roll. In this series of videos, we'll go deep inside the recording and production process that we undergo while making a record of this kind. Making a record like this doesn't happen overnight. It takes organization, planning, passion, perseverance, sweat equity, and money. Mustn't forget about the money. So, come with me, if you dare, as we speak in intimate detail with key members of the Big Phat Band, and we'll see firsthand the kind of evil genius it takes to make a modern-day big band record. Welcome to the making of That's How We Roll.
I wasn't there when you recorded the solo. Was it a big difference? Were you really blazing at the very beginning of it?
Well, at first, it was a good point because, you start off and I was, playing and, I'm excited.
Because you really, my feeling is that you really did capture it from the very beginning. And I don't normally
Compliment anybody?
compliment too many people.
Now, was there a difference in how you played it, in the session and how you would approach it live? Big audience,
question,
people,
actually.
People screaming, all into it, a lot of more little energy in the room.
Well, I think that when you record something in the studio, part of that game is to be able to do it, to be able to feel as though there is an audience, to play with that same intensity and just intention in general, because it's a lot easier to play something in the moment while with an audience, they're watching, hopefully into it.
Kind of feeding you too.
Yeah. When you're in a stark environment like the studio, it's very, it's not opposite, but almost. Plus sonically, when you're playing it live, on a stage, the sound is all around you and the bottom is big and it's all right there and you're not encumbered by headphones and stuff. You're trying to recreate that in the studio with headphones and trying to get the right mix and the balance between you and the rest of the band. The band's all right here and you're here, and so it's a completely different comfort level. And so not only do you have to, simulate, that live feeling, but also that live energy too. And so the way you listen, by starting off a solo being more motivic and then building from that point, it's frankly a little harder to create that in the studio.
This is a great conversation to have right now because of this day and age and people able to record in their own home, to do whatever they want to do and to maybe experiment with one of the new things that are out, where put a track down of some generic rhythm track and try to play it and listen to yourself and really kind of think, okay, is that really what I really wanted to do? Anybody can do it now,
Sure. And really it is a different set of muscles, isn't it?
Completely.
To go live and play a solo and make that work, and then to go into a recording studio and to record music that still has integrity and it feels spontaneous, yet it isn't. If you're in a studio, you're surrounded by mics and gear and you're missing the audience.
And there's one other aspect of that too, is that almost every time a live solo is going to be better than a studio solo. Even though you have that safety net of being able to go back and do it again because of the fact that you have that safety net. It's always in the back of your mind. While you're playing, I know for me, when you're playing, part of you is thinking, I can do it better if I stop. I can just go ahead and rewind and go right back. If you're playing it live, it's not there. You have to do it right now. And there's an extra concentration that kicks in when you're in a live situation that just I think that it takes a lot of discipline to play well in the studio when you have that safety net and still create something fresh and without faltering.
So let's segue a little bit and talk about one more song, "Race to the Bridge," which was designed to be hard. Mm-hmm. I think I succeeded in that, and each section has its own little soli that showcases them. And the saxophone soli is I'm not sure if it's one of the harder solos I've ever written. It's on I Got Rhythm Changes. It looks I think more or less laid there, but I think the tempo is probably the significant challenge of that, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, especially with the inner parts. And oddly enough, for me, when we did it faster, it was
Easier.
almost easier to play. I don't understand how to even explain that.
Yeah.
But with that solely, and as well a few others too, but that one in particular, when we stand up to play it in a concert, normally it's the last tune of the concert before the encore if we do one, and it's blazing, and we stand up and play it. It's like, okay, I have it down. You practice and you practice. You try to make it right, but when you stand up, it's like, this feels right. Everything feels right. And there's even some nuances that we've been doing lately that might not be on the record.
On the record,
there's
right.
these little ghosted notes that we're doing towards the end of it that you started doing, and I think the rest of us on the unison lines have been kind of that sort of emphasize and kind of hold back on this note, but then emphasize that other note, and it's a way of kind
Hey, what my vision is for recording records in the future will be, we don't sell physical CDs anymore. It's all, a digital product, but it's updatable. So we go in and we say, hey, let's get the saxes in because this thing sounds, and we just go ahead and re-record, the solo, update, and then you're selling the record again, baby.
Oh yeah.
How do you think?
Yeah.
New solo, Eric solo, get Sal to blow a solo in there.
Tell me about that, the great idea at the beginning, how we kind of had little rough edges at the beginning. Remember the beginning?
Oh, that was your
Remember that?
idea. Yeah, you saved us on that because, not that you want to toot your own horn or anything, but let's toot it. We were doing Race to the Bridge. You were there for this one. You should remember. And it starts off.
That's the one. Oh yeah.
And so we were like 1, 2, 3, 4, and the first 4 bars were just a little bit, and then we'd kind of settle in, and then by the 5th bar, 6th bar, we're locked. And we'd say, let's one more time, guys. Here we go. And then Sal goes, hey, I got an idea. It's the Count Basie Band. Is that right?
Yeah.
That they used to do this.
Yeah, they did a CD. They released a CD recently called Takes, and Count Basie Band. They'd play like a rhythm, like a little just blues or whatever they would at the tempo they were going to do. And just before they got to the beginning of the actual recording, they would stop, and then the whole band would kick in, and we did it maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
And it was nailed.
So you've
It
got
was
that
nailed.
in your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's interesting about playing music rhythmically. Young kids often, when they stop, is when they lose the time. They're playing
Soul break.
and then
Yeah.
then they're behind. So really, it was this question of getting our bodies and our metabolisms up to speed.
And another thing that was going on during the recording of that tune, if you remember, is that each of the section solis is set up by an 8-bar drum fill, right? 8 bars of
Right.
drums. And Bernie, who's a killing drummer, usually a drummer would be a little more forgiving as far as like making sure everybody knows where one is, But Bernie has a real, I got to admit that when we were recording, I was kind of looking at Bernie going, man, just be a little more obvious with that one, because we're recording, we don't want to be stumbling on the record and have to stop and everything. And some members of the band were a little more,
Adamant about that, yeah.
About the complaint of that, yeah. You listen to the record now. Oh, well, as it turned out, it all went fine. We listen back to it now, and it's very, very cool that his feels are a little, that they don't put you off balance, but it's not entirely clear. And so when the sections do come in, and as they did, it's that much hipper, quite frankly.
There is something about that guy. I mean, he's a great drummer, but when he gets in a recording studio, he locks.
Yeah.
He locks in a way that I know him just playing very well for years and years and years. And when he's in that environment, first take is just there, and he makes those kind of choices. I don't know how conscious it is of him to know, no, I'm not going to go ding, 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 bing.
Yeah.
No, we're men, let's play this, let's man up and find it.
Yeah.
And even though there's some anxiety, because they have to play this hard solely, and they want to get off on a good solid footing, he's got his job to do too, and he wants
Right.
his solo to be representative of something that he can listen to in 10 years and feel good about.
Yeah. Although I've got to say that on some live gigs we've had, where sonically, for whatever reason, it was very, very hard, even with the monitors right in front of us. It's kind of hard to hear, you know, what he's doing. I've gone over to him and said, hey, you know, it's kind of hard to hear you if you can be a little, you know, cut a couple more edges here and there. And he's totally cool.
He's
not
cool,
like it's not like he's, you know, adamant about this is how I'm going to play it, and if you guys.
Well, because
like
we're in a
do
big hall, sometimes you can't hear him, or you know,
Right.
or a stage, or you know.
So that's interesting that we've talked about being in a live environment, how important it is to be able to hear what's going on. And that's also our struggle in a studio environment, where you think it would be easy. You know, we'll have microphones, we'll have headphones, you know, turn them up and let's go. But we spend a good deal of time in both those environments tweaking that and massaging that, getting it so we feel as comfortable as possible.
Remember those old days though? Like we were talking about Count Basie or the Sinatra recordings, how there were 2 mics. And that's it. 2 mics. And I wonder how that would work nowadays. You
That's
know?
not so well.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, so, well,
Go ahead.
I was going to wrap
Oh.
because no one's watching anymore. They're you know.
Yeah.
Oh.
The cameraman's all
Hey.
sleeping.
They tuned off when we started talking about mouthpieces and ligatures. They were like,
Oh.
all right, click. But if you want to find out more about Eric Marienthal, all you have to do is go to,
www.ericmarienthal.com.
or is there any other
Write
places?
that down.
Facebook.
Facebook. Got to go to Facebook, right? How about Sal? Sal
Same
Lozano?
thing. www.sallozano.com or Facebook.
That's right. And
What about you?
me, I'm tweeting. I'm Facebooking.
You're on Facebook? Are you really? You know, I don't think I've ever seen an entry by you.
You know, is it too much now? Probably a little too much. Listen, you only release an album like once, you know, well, in our case, five times now. So you got to go for it. So you can just delete it.
Do you notice I put up a bunch of stuff on my Facebook?
I wouldn't call it a bunch. You put a couple of things up. He put a bunch.
Oh man. But you have to put them up like a little bit
But
at
he's
a time.
traveling all the time.
He is traveling,
He's
yeah.
still
So
busy.
probably not near his computer, sitting in a hotel.
in a
You can't
hotel
have
room
Facebook
doing
on the road.
nothing.
You know, they
in the
don't
middle of
have
the
that.
night.
Well, they don't have Facebook on the road.
No.
No. Oh, that's right.
So-
Oh, well,
That's
someday
right.
they'll get that together.
Okay.
All right, thanks to Eric and Sal for coming in. I hope you liked the record. Now that was epic, wasn't it? Well, if not epic, at least mildly diverting. And you know what? There's more to come. So check back soon for more episodes of the making of That's How We Roll.